Listen for a moment. You can almost hear the thunder rolling across the vast, ancient canopy of the Dandaka forest. It's a sprawling, untamed wilderness, but right now, it is forever stained with a cosmic, heavy grief. We're standing at the very threshold of a story so immense, so profound, that its echoes have literally shaped the soil of the world. Now, this isn't merely a tale of kings and monsters. Oh no. It's a massive, sweeping tapestry woven with divine curses, shattered alliances, and the chaotic, raw power of immortals. Here, the boundary between heaven and earth completely bleeds away. A kingdom has been shattered. A princess of the earth has been violently stolen from the furrows of her home, and the heavens themselves are holding their breath, watching as the forces of nature mobilize for a war that will shake the absolute foundations of reality. Every footstep in this forest is about to unleash ancient magic. Every single arrow fired will alter the course of destiny.
Deep within the nightmare city of Lanka, far past the terrifying demonic guards and the towering impossible walls, sits the scarlet Asoka Grove. And here, Sita is imprisoned by the 10-headed demon king himself, Ravana. Just imagine the sheer psychological terror of this. He offers her the entire world. He threatens her with unspeakable visceral violence, warning her that if she doesn't submit to him by winter, she will literally be eaten. Yet, she stands before this terrifying entity, a creature who has literally brought the gods themselves to their knees, and she is utterly, fiercely unbroken. She looks right through his monstrous threats and simply says, "Do what you will with me, I will feel nothing." She is a flame from the king's fields, entirely untouchable in her defiance. Even Lord Brahma, high up in heaven, recognizes the sheer gravity of her resilience. He actually sends Lord Indra down through the night, veiled by the goddess of sleep, just to bring Sita heavenly nourishment and a secret glowing spark of ancient hope.
So to truly understand the cosmic forces pulling at Sita's fate right now, we need to map out 5 converging timelines. First up, the Golden Curse. Second, Traces of the Taken. Third, the Child of the Wind. Fourth, the Brothers of Kishkinya. And finally, the Archer's Hidden Strike.
Let's start with our first timeline, the Golden Curse.
Now you might be wondering, if Ravana is this unstoppable conqueror of all creation, why doesn't he just force Sita to be his wife right now? Why wait for winter? Well, the answer to that doesn't lie in Lanka. It lies in a distant, tragic memory, frozen in stone and fire. 10,000 years ago, the breathtakingly beautiful Apsara, Ramba, was turned to solid stone on Mount Kailasa. When that agonizing spell finally wore off on a bright spring day, she revived and fell deeply, passionately in love with Nalakubara. But one night, as the silver moonlight bathed the hills and flower petals rained softly around her, Ravana arrived in his massive sky chariot. He intercepted Ramba. Despite her desperate, tearful pleas that she was already spoken for in her heart, he brutally assaulted her. The very next day, a completely heartbroken Nalakubara stood alone upon a bare rock. He wept a single heavy tear that completely shattered the solid boulder beneath his feet. Grasping a pine branch that miraculously burst into dripping divine fire, he cast a devastating curse. If Ravana ever again forces a woman who will not have him, his 10 heads will instantly violently burst. It is this fiery ancient grief, this terrible tragedy from generations past, that forms an invisible, impenetrable shield around Sita today in that Ashoka Grove.
That brings us to part 2, Traces of the Taken.
Snapping violently back to the present, the earth itself seems to be mourning. Rama and his deeply loyal brother Lakshmana are frantically, desperately sweeping the Dandaka forest, looking for any sign of Sita. They actually beg the river Godavari to tell them where she is, but the river is just too terrified of Ravana to speak a single word. The wildflowers have completely faded. The earth just looks worn out and infinitely old. Lakshmana's eyes anxiously scan the forest floor, and he begins to piece together a terrifying forensic story of absolute violence. A single white flower holding a drop of fresh blood, shattered bits of ivory and pearls scattered in the dirt, a violently torn piece of gold armor, stout bladeless iron arrows strewn everywhere from a completely crushed quiver, the smoldering wreckage of a massive sky chariot, and then the most chilling, visceral discovery of all, 10 great, bleeding, dark arms, physically torn off at the shoulders, their palms clearly marked with the royal birth wheels of an emperor. These horrific, chaotic clues lead the brothers right to the dying hero who caused all this devastation, the ancient vulture king, Jatayu.
Jatayu is lying there on his back, coughing up blood, his incredibly long life slipping away by the second. With his final breaths, he reveals the terrible truth. It was Ravana who took Sita into the sky, and he confesses that only his failing, brittle old age prevented him from killing the Demon King right there in the clouds. As Jatayu finally lets go and takes his last breath, a profound, world-shattering grief washes over Rama. Think about it. He's been entirely stripped of his kingdom, his beloved wife has been stolen by a monster, and he looks down at this noble bird who gave literally everything to try and save her. With tears in his eyes, he whispers, "See how in every race of creatures live the brave." The crackling fire that burns Jatayu's funeral pyre feels chillingly cool compared to Rama's intense sorrow. From this tragic ashes, the brothers journey south, heading toward the green shores of Lake Pampa.
And this leads us directly into part 3, Child of the Wind. Following the wise advice of a mystic ascetic named Savari, who, by the way, waited 13 years by a constantly burning fire just for a chance to see Rama before entering heaven, the brothers head to Rishimuka Hill. And here, they seek an alliance with a cosmic figure of truly unimaginable, earth-shattering power. Hanuman isn't just a monkey. He is a chaotic, immortal powerhouse, personally shaped by the highest gods themselves. Born from Vayu, the wildly restless wind, a newborn Hanuman looked up at the dawn sky one morning and saw the glorious burning sun rising. But to an infant of the wind, it just looked like a giant, delicious, ripe mango. Driven by pure hunger, he simply leapt into the heavens, tumbling completely unhurt through the cracking, blinding white fire of the sun's own chariot. He was utterly, remarkably fearless, a true force of pure, untamed nature.
But the story gets even wilder. While bouncing around through the terrifying fiery updrafts of the sun, this immortal infant encountered Rahu. Now, Rahu is the terrifying eclipse demon, literally a massive, immortal, disembodied head floating in space. Mistaking Rahu for just another piece of fruit, little baby Hanuman kicked the terrifying demon right in the eye. This caused an absolute cosmic uproar, immediately drawing the attention of Lord Indra, who rode in on his giant multi-tusked white elephant. Unfazed, Hanuman fought the elephant too. He fought it until Indra finally struck him down with a lightning bolt, breaking the child's jaw. In a deep, profound rage over his injured son, Hanuman's father, the wind, literally stopped the breath of the entire world. Everything began to suffocate until Lord Brahma himself stepped in, healed the child, and granted him absolute, unbreakable immortality to pacify the wind. As Hanuman grew up, he learned beautiful poetry and complex languages directly from Lord Shiva's divine bull. But he bore a very special secret magic. He wore golden earrings all his life, without ever knowing it. The divine condition placed upon them was that these rings would remain entirely invisible to the world, to be revealed only to the one specific soul destined to be his true friend and ultimate master. So, when Rama finally approaches Rishimuka Hill and looks upon the strangely disguised woodcutter, he doesn't just see a monkey in the forest. A deep, cosmic bond is instantly forged as Rama smiles, seeing right through the illusion, and softly says, "O Hanuman of golden earrings."
Which brings us to part 4, the brothers of Kishkindia.
Hanuman leads Rama high up the hill to meet his king, Sugriva. They sit together and pledge their eternal friendship around a small, crackling fire, promising to take each other's joy and sorrow entirely as their own. Sugriva even brings out a piece of cloth, it's Sita's scarf, dropped from the sky as she was taken. But here's the catch. The king is currently living as a desperate fugitive, exiled from his own vast, magnificent underground city of Kishkindia. Why? Because a deeply tragic, deadly misunderstanding had completely shattered the bond between two royal brothers. You see, Sugriva's brother, Vali, was a phenomenally strong but incredibly arrogant king. One night, a terrifying demon named Mayavi challenged Vali. Vali chased this demon deep into a pitch-black cave, ordering Sugriva to wait outside. And Sugriva waited. He waited for an entire year. Finally, a thick river of blood poured from the cave's mouth, and the terrifying roars of underworld asuras grew incredibly loud. Believing his beloved brother was dead and desperately needing to protect their city from a demonic invasion, a completely heartbroken Sugriva sealed the cave with a massive stone and took the crown. But Vali wasn't dead, he had won. He fought his way out, violently shattered the stone, and immediately believed Sugriva had maliciously betrayed him for power. In a blinding rage, Vali exiled Sugriva and cruelly took Sugriva's loving wife as his own prisoner.
So Sugriva and Hanuman were hunted mercilessly across the world until they remembered one single terrifying sanctuary. Years prior, a giant, incredibly ill-tempered buffalo demon named Dundavi had challenged Vali to a fight. Vali effortlessly broke the massive beast's neck and, in a display of pure arrogance, hurled the bleeding, mountainous corpse miles and miles through the air. As it flew over Rishimuka Hill, drops of foul blood fell and desecrated the sacred, pristine altar of the hermit Matanga. Enraged beyond words, Matanga cast a deadly curse on Vali. If the king or any of his loyal men ever dared to enter these specific woods, they would die instantly. So the supreme irony here is that Vali's own unchecked, arrogant violence had inadvertently created the one single magical fortress where Sugriva could actually survive his wrath.
And finally, we arrive at part 5, the Archer's Hidden Strike.
The timelines all braid together right here. To gain an army massive enough to assault Lanka and save Sita, Rama must first help Sugriva assassinate this seemingly invincible Vali. But Sugriva is terrified. To prove his divine strength, Rama casually steps up and kicks the giant dried skeleton of Dunduhi completely over the horizon. He then draws his gleaming golden war arrow, smoothly strings his massive bow, and firmly declares, "It is wrong for people in love to be separated." He fires. The arrow streaks through the air with a terrifying scream, piercing straight through the incredibly dense trunks of 7 massive ironwood trees. The power is undeniable. The trap is officially set.
The very next day, Sugriva bravely steps out of the forest edge and roars his challenge, echoing into the deep cave city of Kishkindinya. Inside, Vali's queen, the remarkably beautiful and deeply wise Tara, immediately senses the danger. She's heard the terrifying whispers of Rama's power. She clings to Vali, desperately begging him not to go out there. She looks him in the eyes and tells him no woman advises any man she does not love, be his friend. It's a plea born of pure devotion, but Vali is utterly blinded by his own towering pride. He foolishly, tragically ignores the desperately wise warning from his loving queen. He just pats her away, arrogantly claiming that the ancient rules of fair war will surely protect him as he steps out into the blazing sunlight.
Vali and Sugriva clash with a sound like splitting thunder. They wrestle with such blinding, terrifying speed that they literally blur into one spinning mass of fur and fury. And Rama just waits. He remains hidden, lurking quietly in the deep shadows of the trees. Finally, amidst the chaos, he spots the golden garland resting around Vali's neck. The bowstring twangs. The sound of the air violently tearing like cloth rips through the entire clearing. The golden arrow strikes Vali flawlessly, straight through the heart. He falls instantly. Queen Tara runs out frantically from the cave, weeping uncontrollably, and she points trembling into the dark shadows. In a state of pure, paralyzing shock, she cries out to her son. That is death there in the form of an archer leaning on his bow. The ultimate hero of righteousness, the avatar of the divine, has just assassinated a king from the bushes.
The entire forest falls dead, eerily silent. The monkeys are completely trembling. Let's really pause and think about this for a second, because this morally gray assassination deeply, uncomfortably challenges our entire understanding of honor in this ancient world. Vali's life is rapidly slipping away. He was a great, noble king once, yet he separated a loyal husband from a loving wife, which, ironically, is the exact same crime Ravana committed against Rama. So the massive question hangs in the air. Does a devastating personal grief truly justify breaking the sacred, fair rules of combat? Hanuman looks down upon the fallen king and softly notes that the affairs of life are now their task, silently acknowledging that the act of separating true lovers is as profoundly, deeply wrong as the cruelty of war itself.
The tragedy absolutely peaks right here in a sequence of staggering, breathtaking sorrow. Queen Tara, a woman of immense, unimaginable grace, utterly refuses to be pulled away from her husband's bleeding body. She addresses Hanuman, declaring that she is merely a part of Vali, bound to him forever. Then, slowly she looks up toward Rama, the hidden archer emerging from the leaves. With a voice that echoes with the unbearable weight of entirely shattered worlds, she looks at the man who killed her love and says, "I forgive his murder." In a final, utterly devastating act of supreme devotion, she grips the very golden arrow lodged in her husband's chest, pulls it violently free, and drives it straight into her own heart, falling dead right beside him. The mourning monkeys slowly bear their fallen king and queen away on a grand royal hearse. They cast broken jewels and gold to the earth, chanting ancient glories to the moon and the water as the massive funeral pyre burns against the sky. And then the heavy rainy season finally breaks across the hills. It is dark, relentless, and suffocating, completely pausing their epic quest. Rama stands there in the deluge, He has a kingdom's massive army now at his back, yes, but his hands are forever stained with a complex, murky, tragic blood. As the thunder rolls once again over the caves of Kishkindia, a heavy, lingering cost hangs thick over these complex, mythological wars. To save the absolute light of his life, how much deeper into the darkness must Rama wade? If this journey moved you, support the channel with a like, share, and subscribe for more timeless stories.